Hi, welcome to Joe Blogs. And the reason that I've got a rhino behind me, in fact there's a number of different rhinos here, is because I'm in Cape Town. In fact, if I turn around this way you can see the famous Table Mountain behind me here. And I'm down at the V&A Waterfront, which is a great place to hang out. And in today's video I'm going to tell you the best things to do when you're in Cape Town to maximise the benefit from your visit. Now, I've been to Cape Town a few times in my life and it's absolutely brilliant. I love it. And if you're worried about safety and security, because South Africa sometimes gets a bad rep, I really wouldn't worry about that. I've been here for a few days and it is so relaxed, so peaceful. I haven't felt threatened. There's no risk of any problems at all. So in today's video, we'll go through all of the great things to do in Cape Town. But one of the things when I'm traveling that always worries me is what I'm going to do with regards to data, because I'm constantly on my phone, whether it be looking at Google Maps to get me where I'm going or looking up information on things, all of those sorts of things. And whenever I travel abroad, I'm always worried that my mobile phone provider, my cell phone provider, is going to rip me off, because that's how they make all of their money, by charging you a fortune every time you go overseas. And today's video is sponsored by Saily, which is an eSIM. So basically you don't need a SIM card for your phone, it's an electronic SIM. So basically what you need to do is download the Saily app, you then choose a mobile data plan, you pay for it, and you're off and running. It's absolutely brilliant. And I've been using it since I've been in Cape Town, and it has been an absolute pleasure. It's been brilliant because everywhere I go, I know that I'm going to use data and I don't have to worry about being hit with a big charge. The great news is that Saily is available to use in more than 160 countries worldwide. And the even better news is that you can get a 15% discount by using the code JOEBLOGS at checkout. So next time you're planning your trip abroad, don't forget to organise your Saily eSIM to give you hassle-free mobile data when you're travelling. Probably the number one thing on everybody's list when they come to Cape Town is to come up here to the top of Table Mountain, which is where I am now. And you can get incredible views of Cape Town down below, and also Robben Island, which is one of the other main tourist attractions. Now, in terms of the tips that I would give you, I would definitely recommend buying a fast pass. They're only a little bit more if you buy them online, but we've just arrived here and the queue was absolutely enormous. Probably over an hour, maybe 2 hours to actually just queue to get in if you've just got a standard ticket. So a fast pass is an absolute must, because we literally walk straight through to the front of the queue. We're straight on within 2 minutes of arriving at the actual station. So the cable car journey is fun. Let's have a look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Table Mountain Aerial Cableway. As we go up, the floor will be rotating, so kindly step away from the sides and let go of all silver handbars. Thank you and enjoy.
Bye, family. Okay, we're going to make a full rotation, so don't worry about
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind that Table Mountain is a national park. We ask that you respect the environment, not chipping away at any rocks or stones, picking any flowers and wasting any water. Your return tickets, please keep it safe as you need them to come back down again. As we dock, we'll be reaching a height of 1,067 meters above sea level. That's approximately 3,500 feet. For those that smoke, smoking is only allowed at the 12 Apostle Terrace, which you'll find below the shop at the top. Your exit to the left-hand side facing the main building. Thank you and enjoy your visit.
Now, once you're up the top of the mountain, it's very picturesque. There's some great views. You can get some great shots. And the one thing that you really need to watch out for is the wind. You can probably hear the wind at the moment because since we've been here, this car has been closed for the last 3 days because the wind has been so high. They haven't been running the cable car. So you need to buy a ticket, and I think it's then valid for around 7 days. If you can't do it on the day that you're wanting to, you need to be flexible and be able to come back on a different day. Now, luckily today, so the weather is really good, so it's not been a problem. We're up here, but if the wind does pick up, there is a possibility that they will have to close the cable car, and so we'll have to go down earlier than we'd like to. But in terms of what's to do up here, it's really just a nice bit of sightseeing, looking around, taking some photos, and just chilling out. But it's definitely a recommended thing to do. If you're coming to Cape Town, you should definitely come to the top of Table Mountain. You can walk it, but it will take you a long time. I think 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. So probably a bit easier to get the cable car. And don't forget to buy your return cable car visit, otherwise you'll have to walk back down. One of the other must-do things when you come to Cape Town is to go to Robben Island, and I'm here at the harbour waiting for my ferry to take me over there. Now, the Robben Island tours sell out really quickly, so I would definitely advise booking in advance if you're going to come as part of your trip. And Robben Island is similar to Alcatraz in San Francisco. It's an island that was set up as a prison, and famously Nelson Mandela, who's obviously named here, was imprisoned there for around 18 years of his 27 years in prison. And a lot of the political prisoners were actually put onto Robben Island. So let's have a look at what the tour of Robben Island is like. Well, here I am on Robben Island. We've driven around past a lot of the prisoners' cells, and it's interesting because the whole island was a prison. So rather than somewhere like Alcatraz, where you have a large building where everybody's locked up in small cells, the political prisoners here were actually held in houses. So it looks like a really nice little community on an island. If you didn't know that it was a prison, you'd think that this was like a really lovely place to live. But obviously, the people who were being held in those houses were being held against their will, and lots of them were in 24-hour confinement. So really awful. And it's got a really eerie feel to it. When you drive around, you just think this is a really spooky place, because whilst at face value, it looks like a really lovely island sitting in the middle of the sea, actually it was somewhere where people were incarcerated. And obviously Nelson Mandela was here and a lot of other famous South Africans. But really fascinating tour. Here we are at the maximum security prison. This is actually where most of the prisoners were held, not the political prisoners. So we're going in on the tour now. So we're being given a guided tour by somebody who was actually a prisoner here, who was incarcerated at the age of 18. So I've just completed the tour of the maximum security prison and seen Nelson Mandela's cell, and yeah, it's just incredible that people were held here under such horrific circumstances. But I won't spoil it too much, but I've definitely put a trip to Robben Island onto your itinerary if you're coming to Cape Town, because there's a bit of amazing international history. It's also quite a nice trip. It's a pleasant boat ride out here. It is a lovely island. Obviously, wasn't particularly lovely for the people who are staying here, but it is really pleasant. A lovely day today. Definitely something that you should put on your itinerary. One of the other must-do things when you come to Cape Town is to come here to the V&A waterfront. Now this is basically the harbour, and it's where all the bars and restaurants and retail outlets are. There's over 100 restaurants and over 450 different shops. And this is really the heartbeat of the tourist area in Cape Town. So basically, if you want to come out for dinner or lunch, or just sit and watch the harbour and watch the world go by, this is a great place to hang out. So if you're thinking about booking your accommodation, I would recommend getting somewhere that's relatively close to the V&A waterfront, because if you can walk here, that's absolutely ideal. And as I said at the start of today's video, it is safe around here. You can walk places, you don't have to worry about any safety issues. Or you can get an Uber, because Ubers are super cheap. And the place that we're staying, we just got an Uber here and it was around $3. Super cheap. So transport is very cheap, but this is basically where it's all happening. This is where all the lively stuff goes on at the weekend. It's really busy here, really lots of music. They have events here. There's a little auditorium, an open air, where they have music and theatre and just people doing stuff. So it's a great place to hang out. And if you're thinking about where to go for lunch or dinner or those sort of things, the V&A is the place to be. And interestingly, the V&A, I thought it stood for Victoria and Albert, which is Victoria and her husband, but actually it stands for Victoria and Alfred, which was her son. And this place was apparently founded by Alfred a long time ago. I don't know the exact details on it, but V&A doesn't stand for Victoria and Albert, it stands for Victoria and Alfred. But it's definitely one of the places that you will want to come to as part of your stay in Cape Town. If you want to see some endangered animals on your trip to Cape Town, then you need to come here to Boulders Beach. And you can see behind me, there are African penguins. And this seems like a really bizarre concept, that you've got penguins in what is 100-degree heat today. But these penguins live here permanently. They haven't migrated here. They haven't come from the Arctic for a summer break. This is actually where they live. And apparently, this colony originated from just 2 breeding pairs back in 1982 and is now up to around 2,200 penguins. But as you can see, this is an actual beach. This is an African beach with sand and heat and everything. But these guys live here all the time, and you can come down and pay around $25 to get in. This is a boardwalk that's been constructed for viewing, so you can go down onto the beach. There's a beach area over there, but most of the penguins are actually congregated here. So if you go to the beach and pay there, you might not actually see a penguin. You won't be able to hug one. But here you can get a great vantage point. You can see there's lots of people behind me that are all milling around on the big circular part where you can see penguins. So let's have a look at some of the penguins on the beach itself. So I would definitely recommend taking in Boulders Beach as part of your trip to Cape Town. It's about an hour's drive from central Cape Town. So if you've got a car, that's pretty easy to do. There's car parking here. It's free, apart from you have to tip the attendants. Or you could jump in an Uber and come down. But it's definitely something unusual, something rare that you can find, a penguin whilst getting a suntan. One of the other things that Cape Town is famous for is wine, and if you're coming to Cape Town, you need to pay a visit to the wine regions. And in fact, if you like wine, you could spend your whole time in the wine region. Now, there are literally hundreds of different wineries to choose from, but I decided to go to one called Babylon Storing, which is actually a really interesting story, because this is a farm that was originally founded in 1692. However, it was bought in 2007 by a South African billionaire called Koos Becker, and he hired a prominent gardener called Patrice Taravella to design an incredible set of gardens. And in fact, it's been referred to as the Versailles of vegetable gardens. Now, Babylon Storing is absolutely amazing, and Koos Becker has spent an absolute fortune redesigning it and making it into one of the best wineries in South Africa. It is an incredible place. And because he's a billionaire, he doesn't really need to make any profit from it. And when you go for lunch, you'll be surprised at how cheap it is. We went to the Greenhouse restaurant and it was incredibly cheap, and the food was amazing, and so was the wine. So you can choose one of hundreds of different wineries in South Africa, but I would recommend paying a visit to Babylon Storing. You can actually stay there as a hotel, but it is incredibly expensive, so I'm not recommending that. But drop by for lunch and you will be pleasantly surprised. When you come to South Africa, you want to be treated like a king, and I'm down at Camps Bay, sitting on one of these interesting chairs. And Camps Bay, I think, is an absolute must if you're coming to Cape Town. It's around a 15-minute drive away from Cape Town, but it's an absolutely beautiful bay. So you've got pristine beach here, absolutely fantastic. So you can go and do some paddling. They've got some waves. I don't know whether you should surf or not, but it's a really nice family beach, really safe. Camps Bay is a really affluent part of Cape Town. You've got some really amazing villas and apartments up in the hill behind me here. And because of that, they've got some great bars and restaurants. It is a fantastic place to hang out and have brunch and dinner and lunch. And around 20 years ago, I came here and spent 3 weeks just chilling out, coming down to the beach every morning, grab some brunch, kick back on the beach, grab some dinner, go back. Absolutely amazing. So I would definitely recommend, if you're coming to Cape Town, to make the effort to come down to Camps Bay. It's around a 15-minute Uber ride. It won't cost very much, very inexpensive, but it's a cool place to hang out. There's lots of fantastic open-air restaurants and bars here. You can have a great time. Really cool place to just chill and relax and just watch the world go by. So definitely put this on your list, particularly if you've got younger people in your party and you want to spend some time on the beach. It's really very close to the city. You'll get an amazing beach, very close, and just a really hip vibe here. You can't come to Cape Town and not come to Camps Bay. You can actually stay here. You can rent an Airbnb. You can stay for a few days if you like that sort of thing. If you like a chilled vibe and you just want to hang out in a cool place that's chilled. But for me, it's more of a day trip. If you're coming for a short break, come down to Camps Bay, have a look at the beach, have a look at the bars, check it out, and then get back to Cape Town. So here we are down at the beach itself. As I said, beautiful white sands, really lovely beach. Got quite a nice cove here, so it's quite protected. The wind and the breeze does get up a little bit, but you could get seriously burnt on this beach. And it's a fun place to hang out for families, absolutely safe. You won't feel threatened at all. There's no worry about anything happening. You can come here, relax all day, let the kids play around. We've got a volleyball net on here. I haven't seen anybody playing volleyball just yet, but if you're into that sort of thing, bring your volleyball down. And in terms of parking, I meant to mention that there's on-street parking, so you can see there's lots of cars that are parked all over around here. But there's also a public car park. So about halfway down where all the bars and restaurants are, you'll see a car park. You can jump in there. It's very inexpensive, so you can pop the car in there for as long as you want to stay if you're driving. Or you can grab an Uber, because Ubers are very cheap in South Africa. But I would definitely recommend anybody that's coming to Cape Town for a few days to think about taking in Camps Bay. Come down here for lunch or dinner or just some cocktails, hang out on the beach, watch the world go by. It's a great place. Another fun thing to do when you come to Cape Town is come here to the Cape of Good Hope, and this is where the Indian and Atlantic Oceans meet. This is quite a fun place. It takes about an hour and a half to drive here from Cape Town, and it's a national park, so it's a really huge place. It's taken about 20 minutes to drive here from the actual entry point, and you've got two things to do here. You can walk to the Cape of Good Hope down this path behind me, and it takes about an hour and a half on a round trip to go all the way down there and back. It's relatively flat. Or you can go up to the lighthouse, which is behind me, which is a bit more challenging. So it doesn't take as long, only takes about 20-25 minutes, but it's a lot steeper. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So I've just finished the walk to the lighthouse and back, and I'll definitely recommend it. It's quite strenuous, it's quite steep, so you need to be relatively fit to be able to do it, but it's quite exciting, quite fulfilling, and you get loads of amazing views from all around, and you can take some great photos, and it's actually quite fun to say you've been to the southernmost point of Africa. So I'd definitely put on the list, if you've got time, to come to the Cape of Good Hope. It's a nice drive out here. If you get good weather like this, it's absolutely amazing. I've been here before when it was very, very windy. You could sort of lean 45 degrees into the wind, and that's quite fun as well. But I think if you're coming to Africa and you've got time, you should definitely make time to come down to the Cape of Good Hope. Now when you come to South Africa, you want to see some animals. And I've been looking for some everywhere, I just can't seem to see any. But I'm actually at the Aguila Game Reserve, which is a game reserve around a 2-hour drive away from Cape Town. I've just done that drive. It's a really pleasant drive actually. If you hire a car, definitely recommend it. We actually saw some baboons on the roadside, a troop of baboons, and you're told not to stop and pet them because they will rip your face off. But anyway, we've come here at 12 o'clock and you get some lunch. It's a 24-hour stopover. So you have some lunch and then you check into your rooms, and they've got some really nice rooms. You can see some behind me. They've got apartments over this side, and then there's actually a pool here as well. It's a bit windy and a bit cold today to go to the pool, and there's also some cottages which you can see behind me here, some cottages. So it depends on what accommodation's available. When I booked this, there was basically one room available on one day, so I didn't really have much choice. So I definitely recommend booking in advance if you are going to come here. We're going out on a game drive at 4:30, which is a dusk drive. So basically when the animals are coming out, when it's not too hot in normal circumstances. Actually today it's a bit windy and it's not that warm. You can see that I've got a hoodie on here. It's actually a bit chilly because we're quite exposed and we're in the mountains. So bring some layers if you are coming, because it can get very cold at night. So we're going on a game drive at 4:30. We'll then have dinner. There's then a stargazing opportunity. One of the guys comes out with a telescope and you can look at all the stars, weather permitting. It's a bit cloudy at the moment, so I don't know whether we'll be able to see the stars or not later. They then put on coffee and tea in the morning from 6:45. There's a 7 a.m. game drive, so you get up when the animals are getting up, when they're coming out and about and looking for some food. So we'll do that. Then you have your breakfast and then you can go home. So let's have a look at what the Aguila Game Reserve is like. Here we are getting on the bus.
Richtig. Oh ja.
Wait is your food? The tallest land mammal, the giraffes. You see, as for the giraffes, you find them on two different types, the northern and southern.
So the only difference between a northern and the southern giraffe is their height.
So what's my overall assessment of the Aguila Game Reserve? Well, I think this place is a really fun thing to do if you're coming to Cape Town for a short visit. It's only 2 hours away, and you get to feel the real safari vibe. It's a game reserve where they actually rescue animals, rescue, repair and release. So the animals have been rescued from various places. So it's not the full safari experience that you get if you went to somewhere in North Africa, but it definitely gives you a really good flavour of what it's like to go on safari. You go on 2 drives. We saw elephant, lion, giraffe, hippopotamus, rhino, zebra, wildebeest, ostrich and a whole host of other animals, and it's quite exciting to drive around and suddenly you stop and the guy says look over there, and then sometimes they're in the distance, sometimes you can get really close to the animals. So it is a great experience. It's nice staying in these cottages. It's quite sort of fun. It was a little bit chilly whilst I was here, so that's a wrap up. I've still got my hoodie on today, but I think it's unusual weather at the moment here. But it's a nice fun experience. The food is good. They've got a nice bar. I was able to watch a bit of football there last night, so that was quite good. And they did the stargazing experience, which went really well by all accounts. They saw all the stars. We were having dinner at the time, so I didn't actually go to that, but I think it's good if you've got kids, you can do something like that. So I definitely recommend coming to the Aguila Game Reserve. It's good fun, not too expensive experience. You get to see lots of animals. You do feel like you're in the outdoors. You're experiencing a little bit of wild Africa. It's quite nice. And yeah, definitely recommend this if you're coming to Cape Town for a visit.